All right, you guys have no idea how excited and how nervous I am for this week one match. The last time I played JJ, we did unfortunately take the L due to certain circumstances, but hopefully here in the APA we can gain some vengeance and we can start off the season with a W. Of course, if you guys are excited for this, plasma fist that thumbs up button down below. Let me know in the comment section below your opinion on G-Max Pokemon in Draft League format. Some of you guys may have experience with that, some of you may not. I don't know. Either way, let me know what you think about G-Max captains or Gigantamax captains in Draft League format. So with that being said, let's take a look here at our matchup real quick. As I said, we are facing John Jr., my very good friend, Mr. JJ, the coach of the Portland Nightshaders. Now, going into this match, there is 4 very scary offensive threats I'm absolutely terrified of. And I would say there is a good chance all 4 of them do come. From most dangerous to least dangerous, there's Kyurem, Terrakion, Chandelure, and G-Max Toxtricity. But above them all, even though I do fully expect those 4 mons to come, another terrifying mon I'm really scared of is SNOM. I have no idea what SNOM does. It seems like a giant scary threat, so I'm hoping that we have been able to prep well enough around it. Otherwise, it could potentially body us. So yeah, those 4 along with SNOM being the main issue. Kyurem is deadly terrifying because it gets freeze dried now, which means he can either run Subroost potentially with freeze dry earth power. He could be Specs or he could be Scarfed as well, just because its coverage is really good against my team. Dragon Dance, Icicle Spear I did consider, but it's really not the scariest thing ever, as you guys will see from our prep. But Kyurem, just especially offensive regardless of what it is. Mainly if it's like Life Orb or Specs, it's a really big issue. But if it's something like Leftovers or super bulky, it's a little bit more manageable, so I'm not going to be too concerned about that. Terrakion, regardless of if it's Scarfed, Banded, Double Dance, like whatever it is, Terrakion is going to be hitting absolutely extremely hard. Chandelure is also terrifying offensively wise, just because its dual stab hits the entirety of our draft for really good damage, so gotta be careful with that. And then G-Max Toxtricity I expect because it's week 1, it's JJ's favorite Pokemon, and why would he not bring it? Just because it's week 1, and I'm sure he's gonna want to get the views. So yeah, along with that, I don't think he brings Rotom Wash and Toxtricity, so I think one or the other definitely comes. Then as for the rest of his team, like Claydol, I kind of expect because it's his best answer for Zeraora. Alolan Persian is annoying just because of Parting Shot or U-Turn knockoff. Ribombee, I don't know if Ribombee really comes because it can literally not touch Corviknight whatsoever, so I honestly don't expect that. And then Copperajah, I guess could maybe come, but I really don't expect it, honestly. And the same for Swoobat. I don't know why he would bring Swoobat to this game. He can really do nothing against us. So yeah, if anything, I expect the Kyurem, the Terrakion, Chandelure, G-Max Tox, Rotom Wash, Alolan Persian, and SNOM, a combination of those mons essentially. So with that being said, let's take a look at our first team member here. We have the Rock, the most electrifying Pokemon here in this draft format. Look at Zeraora. Look at the 4 moves that we have and tell me what's switching into this. I'll give you a few seconds because there's no answer. Like, this literally 2 KOs everything. Somebody in my friend office suggested I could run Choice Band, which I did kind of toy with the idea of Choice Band, but I don't really want it Choice Banded because if I lock myself into something like Knockoff, then in comes Terrakion. If it's Swords Dance, it gets a free SD. If it's Rock Polish, it gets a free speed boost. And then if it's like Choice Banded or just Life Orb in general, it's going to be smacking everything that I have regardless. So yeah, I figured that Life Orb ultimately might be better just because regardless of what this comes in on, I'm going to either force something out or I'm going to make sure to bring it in on something I can guarantee a KO against, because if I play this correctly, I should be getting a kill every single time it comes in, since there's little to no switch-ins that JJ has. Even like Fizdef, Colberberry, Claydol is going to get absolutely smacked by 2 knockoffs. I don't think it 2-hit KOs. I think that's literally the only thing that lives 2 hits from Zero Aura. But even then, I just need a little bit of power damage. And then from there, it's just going to be death fodder, essentially. So, yeah, this basically outspeeds everything that is not Scarfed. I think I'm speed creeping Rabombi, speed creeping something on my team, because realistically, yeah, I don't expect Rabombi, but even if he does bring it, it shouldn't be anywhere near max speed. So, yeah, I'm kind of creeping what he could potentially creep for us. So, yeah, hopefully that plays out well for us in this matchup here. Again, really don't expect Rabombi, even if he brings it. It shouldn't be doing anything, honestly. Like, we have Corviknight, most likely, so really not concerned about it. Next off, we have Haxorus, aka Andrade, the mascot of the channel here, making his debut for the first time ever in a draft league for us, and we are running Choice Scarf Haxorus. Now, initially, I did have Choice Banded in my mind, but I figured just on the off chance that maybe he has Dragon Dance Cure, like, I guess he could be Dragon Dance especially offensive, just so he can get the speed boost from Dragon Dance to guarantee outspeed my team. I figured that it would still be safe to have Haxorus here. Plus, if you look at his draft, his only real ground immunity is Swoobat. Although I guess if SNOM comes in on this lock, that's Earthquake, that's a little bit of a problem, but hopefully I can try to avoid that, because I don't want that thing to just come in and absolutely murder us. But besides Swoobat and playing carefully around SNOM, thanks to Moldbreaker, the Levitate on Claydol and Rotom Wash is basically useless. So if I can get rid of Rabombi or Swoobat, and hopefully SNOM is not around, then this could essentially just win late game with Scarf Earthquake, essentially. And even then, if Rabombi is not there and he doesn't bring the Copper Raja, which I don't expect Copper Raja to come, honestly, then I can just lock myself into Dragon Claw or Outrage. And unless he has Scarf Terrakion, which I know I said Terrakion would be scary, but it's scary if it's Choice Banded, which even then, I don't think Choice Terrakion is the best set in this game. Just because if it locks itself into a specific move, I can take advantage of it from there. But yeah, what I'm trying to say is that Zero Aura basically murders everything by itself, and then Haxorus can come in and clean up by itself and just revenge kill pretty much the entirety of his team with just our Dragon Stab and Earthquake alone. Close Combat is just there, I think, to be able to do good damage to the Persian plus Copper Raja and Terrakion. Like, if those are his last 3 mons and I outspeed him on, I can just lock myself into Close Combat. Basically, it's just more of a filler move. I'm more than likely just going to be clicking a Dragon Stab and Earthquake with Haxorus throughout this match. So yeah, moving on to our next team member here, we have Grimmsnarl, aka Nido. Now, some of you guys actually commented saying that I should change this nickname to the Fiend, which I actually do like that. I didn't consider the Fiend just because I already had this nickname Nido in the GDL. So for week 2, we will definitely be changing this nickname to the Fiend because it's definitely more fitting. But yeah, we have Nido here, and the great thing about Grimmsnarl in this match is that because of the fact that it does have such great bulk and prankster dual screens, this is going to kind of soften the blows from the scary offensive threats that he has, the Kyurem, Terrakion, Chandelure, SNOM, and Toxtricity. All 5 of those should hopefully kind of be kept at bay. If I play this correctly, we can get up screens, we can kind of soften the blows from those, maybe come in with Zero Aura, get a free KO, maybe bring in Haxorus, we can tank a hit guaranteed, he knows that, we get another KO. So basically, I want to use these screens to kind of mitigate his damage, hopefully bring in my offensive threats with the screens up, and then take advantage of them by just going all out and destroying whatever's in front of me or whatever is coming in, hopefully. So Draining Kiss, just because I expect this to most likely get burned by Rotom Wash. Honestly, if I'm gonna be switching it in, he could expect me to do something that is not substitute and he just wants to get a status off. So whether it's Will-O-Wisp or Toxic, I figured especially offensive would be good. It also is nice for the Chandelure in case he does potentially run Will-O-Wisp, thinking that I may have Sucker Punch. So yeah, Dark Pulse obviously not affected by that. So I smacked the Chandelure. Draining Kiss also kind of nice for some pseudo form or recovery, I suppose, although I really doubt it's going to come in too handy. It's still nice, I suppose. Otherwise, I think I could have gone like Dazzling Gleam, but yeah, it's really not that big of an issue. So moving on to our next team member, we have Umaga, aka Seismitoad, rest in peace. And I know what you're thinking, why do I have a Yachi Berry as my item? Well, Freeze Dry hits water types for super effective damage. Because I'm also a ground type, that means I'm taking 4 times super effective damage from a Freeze Dry. So if he doesn't expect me to have the Yachi Berry, that could actually end up helping me out tremendously, because that means I could get off a huge hit with Earth Power with Modest Nature and 20 special attack EVs. This allows us to always break the substitute of a max HP Kyurem, which can definitely come in handy if he is something like sub roost or like sub DD or something terrifying like that. So we can always break the sub, guarantee that it never subs up against us, so he's forced to knock us out. We could also potentially toxic him in case he expects us to switch out, and maybe he has toxic, or maybe he thinks he can roost, something along those lines, so we can toxic it, which would be really nice. Scald basically hits everything alongside Earth Power. Obviously we can't really touch Rotom Wash, but we can toxic it and it can't really do much back to us. So besides Rotom Wash, Earth Power and Scald basically smack everything, which is really handy. And then Stealth Rocks obviously are going to be very important for SNOM, which is 4 times weak to them if I'm not mistaken, so that's really going to be helpful for us. Plus, if he's not heavy duty boots on Kyurem or the Chandelure, they're losing 25% HP instantly, and that is also very beneficial to us. So yeah, chip damage, very important in this match. Seismitoad can definitely get up rocks, hopefully not get absolutely murdered by the Kyurem as well. So moving on to our next team member here, we have Raider, aka Corviknight. I don't know if I want this to be shiny or not. I kind of like both, honestly. Rather it be normal or shiny Corviknight. I don't know. Maybe you guys can let me know which resembles more of like a Viking Raider Pokemon. But yeah, we have Raider, the Corviknight here. And the great thing about Corviknight is that because it's only neutral to Ice Beam, this could kind of act as a pseudo pivot in to Kyurem. This is also basically a pivot into a good majority of his team that is not Chandelure, Terrakion, or Toxtricity. So 3 very scary offensive threats can potentially still smack this. Like, the only way Terrakion really does damage to Corviknight is if it's boosted or if it turns to be choice banded. We can still live 2... No, do we live 2 Life Orb close combats? I think we live a regular close combat or a Life Orb close combat into another close combat. Either way though, Terrakion should never one-shot us. Only Chandelure and Toxtricity realistically could one-shot us. And the reason why I think he's not going to bring Ribombee is because Ribombee can literally not touch Corviknight. Like, it learns no move because there's no hidden powers. So I just really feel like Corviknight's a perfect answer to Ribombee, so I don't really know why he would want to bring it. But with the special defense investments, we are able to live non-specs Ice Beams from Kyurem very reliably, honestly, even after rocks, thanks to leftovers and the investment here. So that means we can dump a whole bunch into our physical defensive E's to potentially try and take on Terrakion later. And as I said, this is just really here to pivot in and out, hopefully get rid of hazards, because we don't want to have rocks or potentially webs on our side of the field, but we definitely want them on our opponent's side of the field. So obviously I need to play around that to make sure I don't go for rocks and then defog them away later. This could also potentially, I'm hoping that it can wall the SNOM, because if this goes down, SNOM could potentially just run through my team. So I need to play this Corviknight very carefully. It's definitely kind of like the glue of my team, especially with dual screens up. There should be like nothing that even touches Corviknight whatsoever. So that's another huge benefit of screens, is that while I want to play them aggressively and offensively, I can still use them to my advantage on the defensive side. So yeah, either way, screens are going to come in handy. Corviknight, just an amazing pivot in this match, being able to gain us momentum too with the U-turn. And yeah, moving on to our final team member, and probably kind of the second most important part of our team, because the idea of the team is to deal damage with screens up, then late game go for Healing Wish to either revive back our Zero Aura, because Zero Aura being Life Orbed, yeah, every time it comes in, it's going to be getting a hit, but if rocks are up, that's 12% HP I'm losing, along with 10% every time I'm going for an offensive move. So eventually Zero Aura is going to get really whittled down. So late game, if he thinks, oh, Zero Aura is going to be knocked out by another hit plus Stealth Rocks or another hit in general, I can bring in Rapidash, Healing Wish Zero Aura back up to full HP, and the threat is back. Or I can Healing Wish back up my Grimmsnarl to potentially get my dual screens up again. So Gala Rapidash, very important in this match, because it gives that second life to something on our team that is going to absolutely love it, especially if it is one of our offensive threats. This could also potentially help Scarf Haxorus if it's taking damage earlier and I don't want to be in range of an attack from something else on his team, like Scarf Terrakion. Maybe I can live a hit from full HP, especially if screens are up. I do live a hit, but you get what I'm trying to say. Like, this is going to be able to give that second life to whatever offensive threat we need, or Grimmsnarl, hopefully. And then the nice thing about it too is that with the speed investment, we are outspeeding his Kyurem 99% of the time, because there's no reason for his Kirim to run timid max speed or jolly max speed. So we can creep what he might essentially creep, and then from there we can pivot in. Because of our special defense investment, we are only 3-8 KO'd by Ice Beam. I think we're 2-8 KO'd if he is max special attack with life orb, but if he's life orb, we outspeed him, so we can force him out. Baton pass is really good here as well, because if we do predict the switch, we can baton pass out. And realistically, play rough plus high horsepower already hits the entirety of his draft for neutral or super effective damage, which in itself is very, very handy. So yeah, this again, maybe the most important part of the team, but at the same time, like, Corviknight does so much, Grimmsnarl does so much as well. Then offensively, Zeraora basically just bodies his entire draft. So it can kind of be argued on what exactly is the most important member of the squad, but for our plan, this is definitely the most important member because of that healing wish, being able to revive or revitalize basically one of our offensive threats, or Grimmsnarl more than likely. So yeah, that is going to be our squad for week number 1, guys. Plasma Fist that thumbs up button down below. Let me know what you think about Gigantamax captains in the Draft League format. And with that being said, I will see you all tomorrow with our week 1 battle. So yeah, thank y'all for watching. Later, everybody.
My brain and heart are both tied in the knot, and this hinders me from crying a lot. This causing me to show no emotion. But when I said I cared, I wasn't joking. But I guess it's too late for me to become broken. For now, I'm living with no more pain, tears, or hoping. I'm just coasting. Yeah, I said I'm coasting. No more pain, tears, and hoping. For real.